Hey, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. And in
Okay.
speaking of that, I apologize if there's some background noise. My apartment building decided to start using a wood chipper about 10 minutes ago to get rid of some branches. So I do apologize if there's too much background noise.
No, it sounds, I don't hear anything, but yeah, that's funny. I had the same problem this week as well. Must be the weather.
Must be.
Where are you located?
I'm in Minnesota.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm in Southern California, so
Oh, very nice. Well, awesome. Well, thank you very much again for taking the time to do this interview and be able to talking about an amazing new EP, which of course is out now with something you can say.
thank you. Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
So, with that in mind, I mean, what's it like to be able to have this EP out right now?
It's exciting. So this is we actually released a full album last November, and this is the first time that we followed up um, within a year because it came out in September last month. So yeah, we followed up. I mean, that's by far the fastest we've ever followed up any of our prior releases. So it's really exciting. But we just, obviously we were in a pandemic, we couldn't do any shows, and we're like, well, let's just keep writing and recording and releasing. So we did, and we kind of caught a groove. We were feeling good about it. So yeah, it's exciting. I mean, it's kind of cool right now too because things are, shows are happening and people are out and about, and we're excited to kind of get back and start doing shows as well. So
Oh yeah, I can only imagine. I mean, when you have a new album out and you worked on a new EP as well too. I mean, when you have so much new material, I can only imagine how much you want to be able to play that material live.
yeah, you're right. Because it's basically two albums worth. I mean, one and a half, I guess, but yeah, it's a lot of new material. So we're excited because yeah, we did play a couple of the songs from Beyond Our Failures, which was the album last year, before it came out, like in 2019. So, but yeah, other than that, though, it's all we haven't played any of it live. So,
Yeah, and it's great to see that things are slowly but surely starting to get back on the right track with tours starting to happen, festivals starting to happen, and hopefully the more that can happen, the more reassurance that anytime that you do book a show, that it's actually going to happen.
right, yeah, yeah. There's definitely been some cancellations and some struggles, but people are pulling through. Some tours are going all the way through, and it's just kind of hit or miss, but it's encouraging. I think by hopefully early next year, things will kind of be on their way, completely without, who knows though, right? We don't know, but we're hoping.
Oh yeah, for sure. And but until then, it's like you guys got a ton of new material, and it's great to see that, rather than just like waiting around waiting for something to happen, that you guys took advantage of
Hmm.
the time and being able to make a new EP, make some new music, and just really showing off the diversity of the band too, which I really appreciate. I mean, there's so much with the EP alone. I mean, there's so many great beautiful moments that are happening, so many great heavy moments that are going on. And, just in the span of like 15 minutes, being able to showcase all these different sides of the band is so cool.
Oh wow, that thanks a lot. Yeah, that means a lot. I mean, that's something we try to do. We kind of we try to, I mean, our main focus is writing good songs, but we try to throw in some left turns and some unpredictable twists, as well, without diverting too far away from what the song is, but yeah, and we want every song to kind of have its own identity, its own soul. So that's, yeah, thank you. That means a lot.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And getting back into the shows, like when things are normal, I mean, it's great to see that you guys have that kind of diversity. So it makes sense when you play with a bunch of different kinds of bands because you can show
Mhm.
off all these different sides, and it'll make sense for you guys to be a part of that show.
Right, right. Yeah, that's one of those things, like we never quite fit into one particular scene, but hopefully I mean, we love all kinds of music. We love all kinds of metal and all kinds of music. So we're just happy to jam with anybody, regardless of what the scene or the genre is, or the subgenre, right?
Oh yeah, and to me that makes it more fun. I mean, when you're just playing shows with like good people, you're playing at a good venue, the crowd is open and willing to being able to check you out and the rest of the bands out. I mean, that to me that always makes for the best experiences.
Yeah, for sure. And it does seem like metal fans are slowly but surely, especially it seems like the younger ones are starting to become more open-minded, It doesn't have to be so like traditional, you know what I mean? Like they're open to like all different styles of metal and kind of new ideas, and also combining different styles, even like electron, not that we do it, but I mean it's encouraging to see that people are using like electronic elements and even pop stuff, and it's being accepted by a lot of metal fans, not all of them, but but it's encouraging.
Oh yeah, and it shows the diversity of not only the music that's capable, but the musicians themselves too. I mean, when you can realize and say to other people that you don't just enjoy metal, that you can enjoy other
Yep.
genres as well, I think that just opens up your palettes and just shows like you can have like these pop sensibilities and still be very heavy, or you can show off like these instrumental sides but still be very catchy.
Right, totally. Yeah, because I mean, realistically, nobody, probably very few people started on metal, right? Like we all kind of, as kids, started on some form of pop, you know. So, and I don't know. For me, being honest, like, yeah, that's like I love like Michael Jackson and all kinds of kind of pop oriented stuff, but it's like I love a good melody. I'm not gonna try to hide that. Like that's important to us.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what makes you guys stand out to me so much too. I mean, when you do show off the heavy sides, it's just awesome to see what you guys can do musically. But when you just like sneak in those great melodic moments that are going on, I mean, whether you're doing something like really heavy and there's like really sweet, clean vocals going over top of it with a vocal melody, or you just have like this great poppy kind of riff going on, but it's still very heavy and catchy. I mean, when again, it's just like when you're not afraid to be able to show off all those sides and you're able to open your mind up like that, you're able to come up with so much great material.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That means a lot. I mean, I think it's one of the benefits of being an independent, unsigned artist is that there's nobody telling us anything, and I mean, there's literally no blueprint. So we do what we're into, period.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
whether that resonates or not, we don't know. But like, it seems like it does, though. It it's probably easier in a way to be part of a scene, but I don't know. I think there is a group of people out there. There is an audience for people that are just kind of you know just winging it.
Oh, totally. And I think that just shows more of like that human nature with it. I mean, rather than feeling like you have to stick with a formula and always sticking with that. I mean, I don't think there's
Mhm.
any problem at all with being able to experiment. I mean, not every experiment is going to work, but when you're willing to try different things, you're willing to see what works and what doesn't work. And the wider the gamut of your sound can be, the more possibilities there can be. And overall, maybe more of a fan base that can really be brought to it.
Yeah, we hope so.
So, so in speaking of that, I mean, obviously with a new album, with a new EP, and obviously with the times of the pandemic, I mean, when you're dealing with all this stuff, I mean, like, how has it been for you, like, as a person, like, having to deal with like working so much on the band when the rest of the world is kind of going into chaos right now?
Good question. I mean, for me, it was kind of therapeutic. I had actually, like around the time, a little bit before our album came out in November, I had broken up with the long-term girlfriend, and so that was like, okay, now I'm home alone a lot, and that was like the real kind of beginning of the pandemic experience. Just being more, pretty isolated, living a pretty isolated, but so it was like a great outlet for me. I really got into guitar and just writing and demoing the songs, and even learning a lot of new stuff. And yeah, it was a great kind of release, and just having that, it kind of worked out really. I mean, it was like, okay, well, I can't do anything else. I can't go anywhere. And so it was actually great timing for all that, and it was a great opportunity to really kind of hone my craft in a way that I probably haven't for a long time. So, and I really enjoyed it. I learned a lot. Like it was kind of like really the beginning of me kind of becoming more of a bedroom producer, and not that I didn't do the whole thing, but just doing the demo process and everything up front. And yeah, no, it was actually a great experience, and I learned a lot, and I feel like I grew as a musician.
Oh, that's so awesome to hear. I mean, being able to take advantage of it like that.
Yeah, for sure.
So, with that in mind, I mean, is there like anything in particular that you learned during this pandemic? What, like when it comes to like writing music or anything on the guitar or being in a band or any of those particular things?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I learned a lot. I mean, definitely, I mean, just from the process, like, I mean, technically I learned like kind of how to program drums, for the demos and stuff, and quad tracking. It was my first time. Once we started working with the producer Logan Mader, he's like, okay, I want you to quad track, which is 4 tracks of guitar, so 2 on each side, rhythm guitars right and left, and 2 on each side, and then 4 of everything, the cleans, the leads, everything. And that was my first time doing that much, and it was a lot. But again, it was like, couldn't have had a better time, to do it, because there's nothing else you could do. It's like just working and tracking and working on guitar. So, but yeah, no. So that was a first, and it was a lot of firsts really. But yeah, learned a lot, and I think we learned. We're kind of changing our process as a band a little bit. Um, and I think there were some growing pains with that, but I think it kind of, we're always trying to adjust how to deal with each other, especially my brother. My twin brother is a singer, so he and I are just, we're just childish, we're just always at each other's throats or the dumbest things. I don't know how our other band members, have put up with us for so long, but yeah. And I feel like we grew a little bit, but then again, like we're actually writing again now. And now that, we're all vaccinated and everything, we're getting together and kind of going back to doing it the old school way in a room together, and the bickering begins again, so it's just going to be this lifelong challenge, to treat each other like the way we treat everybody else, with respect.
Oh, it's so true. And, being able to get into the same room and being able to write and jam together can be such a great feeling. But yeah, I mean, that does happen sometimes where, there's some bickering that starts to happen, or one person wants to try something and the other person doesn't want to. I mean, there's so many different variables that can happen. But, the
Sure.
fact that you're even able to get together right now, I mean, the fact that you're all vaccinated and able to start jamming together again, I imagine that alone just had to be a great feeling.
Yeah, it's been really cool actually. Like, yeah, I mean, last night we got together. We've been doing it regularly lately, but last night was the most recent one, and we're working on some new material, and it's totally different than this EP already, and we're pretty stoked on it. But sure enough, we're bickering over dumb stuff, but no, yeah, it's cool, because we hadn't, like, obviously this EP came together completely different. It was, you know mostly done over a laptop.
Oh yeah, and you have such an amazing producer behind the helm as well too.
Mm,
I mean, being able to work with Logan, who's just been a part of so many great albums. I mean, whether he's
yeah,
playing or recording it, and it's great to see that you're a part of that now.
yeah, no doubt. I mean, I've been a fan of his for a long time as a player, with Machine Head, and then he's done so many great albums. Of course, the Way of All Flesh by Gojira, and I think he mixed that one, and I mean, so many records. But and then his Once Human stuff is that he plays in and produces is amazing as well, and their new stuff is super killer. So yeah. No, we're very lucky, and he was great to work with. I mean, the surprising thing about it was I knew like the guitar tones were I kind of figured the guitars and the drums and the bass were going to sound good, but he was great to work with on vocals too. You know, Joe's our singer, my twin brother, but I was there for all of it, and I definitely like I like to have a whatever be a part of that, and he had a lot of really good like vocal ideas and melodies and harmonies and stuff like that, and that's really important like to me as like kind of co-producing, I guess.
Oh yeah, I mean, when you do everything DIY as yourself, I mean, you can come up with a lot of great ideas, but you're also in that element of always being a part of the band and having like these certain ideas where outside influences might not necessarily come in. So when you have someone like
Hmm.
Logan, who, like we said, has just been a part of so many great albums behind the board or playing, and he's able to come up with like these different kinds of melodies and harmonies and ideas and tricks that you might not have thought of in the band, and you're
Hmm.
able to try them out, it just makes things sound even better.
For sure. And he had like he would add like I would, oh, can we try like some sort of sound effect thing here? And like everything he did the first time, like right off the bat, was like, yeah, that's it. He kind of just, I don't know, I think we had a good chemistry that way. Like he kind of knew what I was thinking, or and vice versa. It was like everything came together pretty quickly.
Yeah, and that's another thing that's just so important too, is the chemistry of being able to work together with people, especially when they're not a part of the band. It's like
Hmm.
working with the outside team, and you got to make sure that you can work with someone who can produce you good, mix, master, cover art, everything that goes into those things. I mean, when you got the right chemistry going and everything's going in the right direction, there's no better feeling.
Right. Right. So yeah, I'm assuming you play as well and have some experience with that.
Oh yeah, I've been playing drums since I was 9, so I definitely
Oh
know
yeah.
all the positives and definitely the negatives that can come into being in a band, and just like the conversations that can happen that can lead into arguments, or some of the things, just like being able to get things out, and just having those cathartic moments of getting the negative stuff out of the way so the positive can come through. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, there's just so much that goes into it, but it can be so rewarding when it goes in the right direction.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
Very well put.
oh, definitely. And speaking of that as well too, I mean, I really love the cover art as well for
Mm.
the EP. I mean, it's very minimal, but it's so effective for the EP. And I really love that you guys chose this.
Oh, cool. Yeah, thanks. I mean, yeah, we were just kind of looking for something. We didn't. We honestly we were in a rush and we didn't have a lot of time, so we just like wanted something that kind of just popped. Had like looked cool, and it didn't have to look super like metal or whatever. We weren't going for anything particular, and it didn't have to have any kind of meaning per se. We wanted something that was artistic so that anybody can derive their own meaning from it. But and I think we accomplished that. But yeah, we were just looking for something that kind of popped, to us and looked good. And yeah, it was kind of simple. We just didn't have a lot of time to overthink it. And sometimes you get the best results that way.
Oh, it's so true. And along with that as well too, I really love what you guys did with Until I Can Breathe, and just
Mm,
the video that went along with that. I mean,
mm.
it just works so well for the music.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we worked with a friend of ours, Ian Mora, from Smash Standard Cinema. It's his production company. And yeah, he's done what, 3 or 4 of our videos. Cold Savior, Up from the Dust was like an acoustic song from Beyond Our Failures last year. And then this one. So yeah, I guess 4 videos, and he's just, yeah, the guy's incredible. We always try to like kind of reel him in, like, dude, we just keep it simple. We got a deadline and this and that. And he just puts 110% into it. And he just goes above and beyond every time. But I think we all agree that I think this is its best one yet. And yeah, came out great.
Oh, totally. I really love the way that it turned out, and I never would have guessed that it felt like it was rushed or anything like that, because when you watch the video, it feels so natural for what's going on. I mean, it doesn't feel like there's any like quick edits or anything like that. It feels like it was meant to be that way from start to finish.
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean he didn't rush it. We kind of, I don't know. Yeah, he definitely puts the time in for sure. I mean, he had some time, but he definitely kind of like, he'll just keep tweaking it until it's perfect, until it's exactly what he wants, and what we're like, you know, we always try to, yeah, just kind of like, you don't like, keep it simple, and I don't think that's really in his vocabulary. So
Oh, that's great. Going back into your guitar playing, I mean, like you mentioned before, that you started off doing quad tracking for the first time with this EP, and like learning what goes along with that. I mean, when you're working on the new material and you're able to come up with all these different ideas from being able to work during this pandemic, have you been messing at all with anything when it comes to like amps or pedals or guitars or anything like that, or are you keeping the same kind of setup?
pretty much the same. I mean, my live setup, that we're kind of back to doing that now that we're back in the room together, is I mean, a PV 6505 plus, which is, pretty metal 101, and I love it. It sounds great. And then I have I got a new guitar, an LTD. I think it's an MH400 or MB400. It's a baritone version, which is a killer guitar. I did track a little bit with that, but I mostly tracked with my LTD VB400, which is the Viper baritone. But anyway, I don't think I answered the question. Yeah, I mean, really, the biggest. I haven't really changed the live rig. The biggest thing that changed was just using, again, going more in the box, going more digital, like the neural DSP plugins. And I used the I think it was the Fortin Nameless, and like the kind of the what is it? I'm drawing a blank on the names, but anyway, yeah, got some of those plugins, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, and again, it's fun to experiment like that. I mean, whether you're using a tube amp, whether you're using plugins, whether you're going acoustic. I mean, when you're able to try all those different things out, and it's like there's pros and cons to everything, but just not limiting yourself and seeing what kind of plugins there are, and just seeing what kind of tones you can get with it if you are doing the digital routes. I mean, it can be really fun to be able to come up with that.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, that's what I was doing for when I was demoing. And then when I sent the demos to Logan, he really liked the tone, and he's like, let's use your tone that you were using on the demos, and then we'll combine it, since we had 4 tracks, 2 on each side. So what you're hearing is basically on each side is my demo tone combined with his with like, so the DI. So there's like one DI and then one from the demo. Or no, actually it's the tone from the demo, but I retract it. Like, but anyway, yeah, it's basically my plugin with his plugin, combined on both sides.
And what was that like for you to
Yeah.
be able to hear that for the first time? I mean, when you're able to mix those plugins together and you're able to get that quad sound together, I mean, what was it like hearing your tone back?
I mean, it was incredible. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, the very first time I was like, sounds good, but it needs to be a little dirtier. And then the very next mix he sent was perfect, and ever since then it's been spot on. And he really, yeah, I mean, it sounded amazing. I mean, just hearing his mixes come back like from the get-go was pretty incredible. I think the first one we got was Until I Can Breathe, the song that has the video, and yeah, we were blown away. Yeah, I mean, a couple tweaks here and there, but I mean, for the most part, it's just that Logan mix, and it was yeah, amazing.
Absolutely. And from the fan perspective, I mean, I really love the way that it turned out too. I mean, when you got Logan's work behind it, and of course the musicians being able to play it as well too. I mean, you got to have both factors in there, and when you got that, it just makes for an incredible recording, which is what we got here.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Means a lot.
Oh, not a problem. And going back to what you mentioned a little bit ago as well too, like starting to work with programming drums for the first time. I mean, what was that like for you to like really be able to sit down and work out the kinks of what it's like to program drums?
I loved it. I mean, it was kind of liberate as a guitar player, it was pretty liberating because you're always trying to get the drummer to do what you want anyway. As a drummer, you probably don't appreciate that, but you know the struggle, right? Like the guitar versus, we're I mean, we work together, but there's a little
Yeah.
bit of like, whatever, there's a challenge there. But no, it was great. Just to be able to like, okay, get my idea out and then send it to, the band and then have them kind of change stuff from there. And then I mean, so like during the demo process, we did that. And then, I'm getting feedback from my drummer, and then Joe, the singer, my brother, who's also a drummer, so he has a lot of input as well. And then, so making adjustments there. I got together with Jimmy, our drummer, and really kind of, we dialed in like even like fills to be the way he liked it. So, so we could hear the demo the way, the way he would play it. Right. And anyway, so yeah, we kind of went through painstaking measures to make it legit and to everyone's liking, but I was actually surprised though, because then the later two songs, which were actually it kind of ended up the way we wrote them. The last two songs on the EP are the ones that we did later as well, which is Feel It Awake and Into the Deep End. And when I programmed those ones on the demos, they didn't change that much. They're like, yeah, that actually sounds pretty good. I was like, all right, I think I'm getting the hang of this, So
Yeah, I was
yeah.
just about to ask about that too. Like if there was like any major differences, just like you were talking about, like when you're trying to explain to a drummer what you have in mind, and the drummer's like trying to comprehend what the guitarist is trying to say. And it
Yeah.
can go 50-50. I know that goes with me too. Like sometimes I really want to be able to nail what a guitarist wants, and other times like my brain can't even like try to comprehend how my hands and feet are going to be able to do a
Right.
pattern like that. So, it's, when you got that balance,
Yeah.
and, like when you mentioned your brother being a part of that as well, too, and just having like all these minds focused on drums, you can really get some great effects out of that.
For sure. And I don't think I'm like, I know a lot of guitar players go crazy and they have you do like as if you had like five arms or something, and I think I understand drums enough. Like I'm not a drummer, but I can play, I understand drums enough to know how they work, so I know, there was a couple times where maybe I'd have like an extra hit and we would just fix it. Okay, you can't have, you only got two arms, so if you're hitting the snare and a crash, you can't also be hitting the hi-hat or whatever. And it's like, oh yeah, I missed that or whatever. So there was little things like that, but for the most part, I think they were pretty reasonable, realistic, programmed drums. So that a human could play,
Oh, totally. And when you got that time to be able to like sit down and just like figure out the programming and just like coming up with your own beats, and sometimes you just want to be able to go like a full-blown drum solo for the first time and just like hear all the notes. And then once you
Yeah.
really dial things in and you start coming up with these great beats, I mean, it can be such a great tool. I mean, whether you're a drummer or not, to be able to come up with those ideas like that. And it's great to see that you really enjoy doing that.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, it just really helped kind of move the songwriting and demoing process forward a lot quicker, and just get the ideas out. Okay, like here's my idea. Nobody has to like try to decipher what I'm thinking or even, challenge me on it, like we can change it later, but let me get the idea out and then go from there.
Oh, totally. And yeah, again, it's just when I listen to the final product and, just hearing everything that's going on there, I just love everything that's going on, from the tones to the drum beats, the mixing, the mastering, everything that's going into it. I mean, even with it just being 15 minutes and just a taste of what's to come next from the band, I just can't wait to see what's going to be coming up next, because like you said, it's like it's different material than what you hear on the EP, and that's got me excited. From the fan
Yeah.
perspective, it's like, is it going to be heavier? Is it going to be more melodic? Is it going to be going into different genres? I mean, there's so many different ways that it could be going into, and it's going to be
Right.
so cool
Yeah.
to hear that when it finally comes out.
Yeah. No, I know we're excited. I mean, I mean, you always kind of get excited on the new material, especially when it's like kind of new territory for you as a musician or whatever, or for you as a band, you know. And it kind of feels like that. It's like, this is like, you know, like I didn't see this coming per se, especially coming off of the album we just did, you know. So yeah, I don't know. That's always exciting territory, you know, but it feels good to just be, you know, we definitely, I needed a little bit of time. I took a little bit of time off, you know, from, because man, I mean, as you know, I'm sure, but tracking can be, it can be a lot, you know, it can be exhausting. And by the time we were done tracking and then mixing the EP and everything like that, you know, I kind of needed a little bit of time, but I got the time off, and now I'm excited to be back at it, you know, and it's cool. Now we're doing it completely different than how we did it last year, obviously, because we're able to. So getting in a room together again and kind of doing it old school. So yeah, it's exciting.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, again, just like going from the beginning, just like shows are starting to happen, tours and festivals are starting to open back up. Yeah, you guys have so much new material to be able to play live, and then working on even newer material to be able to work on whenever that sees the light of day. I mean, it seems like it's a great time to be in the band right now.
Yeah, it is. Things are definitely, I guess, just more, I guess, prolific than they've probably ever been, you know, just kind of, we kind of got into this idea, you know, like, I mean, obviously, like the way people consume music now is that you kind of do need to keep feeding the beast, you know. I mean, it's like they, you know, it's people are releasing singles all constantly, like all the time. So that's, we kind of had to change our process and the way we write and release music, you know, but it kind of like it works for us. It works for me. I love writing music, and it's like I love playing live, absolutely, but writing is as enjoyable, you know. I mean, arguably, you know, on and off. But the other thing too is like when you go back to like one of my favorite artists is Iron Maiden, and like their first five albums, like it was like an album every year. You know, they were just super prolific, and they just grew and grew and grew. I think up through Power Slave, I think the first five records, you know, and that kind of that when I saw that, you know, when I realized that, I was like, okay, we can do this, you know, let's just get into that vibe, you know. Of course, they were touring; they would go out and tour too, you know. But uh, anyway, yeah,
Oh yeah, and yeah, I mean when you can have that inspiration like something like Maiden and know that you can be able to go out and tour, play shows, and being able to write the write albums like Maiden did, or whatever direction you're going to be going in, whether it's EPs, like a full-on double disc concept album, like Maiden does sometimes now. It's just like
yeah,
there's so many different directions that you're able to go in, and knowing that other bands are able to do that as well too. And it's just like anytime that you feel like you can't, and you just know that these other bands are able to do it, it just gives you that inspiration to keep going, and just being able to find the sounds that you're looking for at the time, and just being able to progress.
for sure, for sure,
Oh, oh,
yeah.
awesome. I think that's a great note to end on too. I mean, there's so much to look forward to when it comes to the band, looking forward to seeing when shows are going to be popping up, when even more new music is going to be coming out. And, just like there's so many great things that are going on. And I really thank you again for taking the time to be able to talk to me about all of it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for, you know, checking us out and all the feedback. I mean, it's really nice to hear because we don't hear, like we hear some, but we don't hear all of it, you know, and it's just, yeah, we appreciate it.
Oh, not a problem. Before we're done, is there anything else you'd like to mention that I hadn't brought up yet?
No, that's pretty much it. I mean, yeah, we're hoping to, you know, book some shows early next year, but so far nothing's booked, and we're not in a hurry. We're preparing. But yeah, no, other than that, you know, we do, well, I guess I should say this. We have physical CDs that we just got that we're going to put up for sale next week. We're going to do a limited edition signed CDs, you know, and probably make it like a little package, you know, include something else to make it kind of cool. And then we're going to have an even more limited edition lathe cut release. That it's lathe cut. I don't know if you're familiar, but it's vinyl, but it's not vinyl, you know. But a buddy of ours did those, so we're stoked on that. So Anyway, yeah, those are coming up.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I mean, but between the physical releases and the lathe cut, I mean that is just so cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
So,
awesome. Well, again, I thank you for taking the time to do this. This has been a great time for me. This is actually my 800th interview that I've done.
oh
So
wow.
yeah, so I appreciate that. We were both able to make this work and have a great time doing this. I can't wait to be able to show off this interview, and yeah, I just had a great
Wow.
time. So thank you.
So this is number 800.
800.
Wow, that's impressive. Very impressive.
Yeah, and
Appreciate that.
yeah, and when it can be a band like this where I can show you guys off, it just makes me very happy.
Yeah, man. No, we appreciate it. Believe me.
Oh, oh, sweet. Well, and speaking of that, I'm gonna start working on this. Hopefully, I have the interview up by Monday to be able to get the promotion on that. Play you guys on my radio show that I got, and just get that full exposure for you. So, yeah, just one last time, thank you very much for taking the time to do this. I had a great time, and I hope you have a great rest of the day.
Yeah, you too, man. Appreciate it again. And we'll make sure to check out more of your stuff,
Oh, awesome! I really appreciate that.
All right.
All right,
Thanks a
take care.
lot.
Oh, you
All
too.
right.